Hello and welcome to Snowbiz 24/7, small screen, big host, worldwide audience. I'm Nicholas Snow, your host, and this is a special spotlight on health. Right now I'm in the Villa Market in Bangkok, Thailand. I've just gone to the first of 4 Saturday sessions of the 21-day Detox, which is being offered by TRIA Integrative Health and Wellness Center, and they are affiliated here in Thailand with the Piyavate Hospital. Right now at the medical center, we're going to do a tour. We're at the grocery store. We're going to do a tour, and Dr. DeAndrea is giving the tour, but also with us is John Wood, and both of them have created the 21-day detox. So let's check in with what we're doing in the vegetable section, and I'm going to give you about 10 minutes of the tour.
But the other reason is because when you're getting the majority of your food, we want you to get the majority of your food from nature whole. If you were to look around anywhere in this store, what you would notice is that on the packaging, everything that they do, they're always mimicking the colors of nature. Because you're involved in being drawn to these triggers, these colors. Now when we come into a section like this, one thing that we begin to realize is, as we come into the produce section, what is this? They have conventionally grown food, and they have organically grown food. What is the difference? Is that just something they're doing to make more money off of me? Because I notice that the organically grown food is much more expensive than the conventionally grown food. So let's come over here to the organically grown food section, which I will definitely emphasize. In many different markets is much larger. If you were to go to Gourmet Market, or if you went to the top of Emporium, these are places where you can get a lot of organic food, and you will definitely notice the sections are larger. But this gave us enough to work with, and I thought the group would be very small, and I wanted to move through easily. So when we come up to organically grown food, the first thing to realize that organically grown food, what does that term mean? Organically grown food means that it has not been altered from nature in any way, shape, or form from the way that nature intended that it should be grown. There are no chemicals or pesticides or preservatives on it. It exists exactly as the way nature decided to grow it. Commercially grown food has no restrictions in that sense. There's no restrictions in the amount of pesticides or chemicals that they might use, and they might overuse 2 or 3 of them because they felt that day that those certain insects could have taken the crop, and now you're being dosed with a heavier amount of chemicals. Another very important thing to realize about organically grown food is that organically grown food has not been genetically altered. What that means is that what they have done is they've decided that in order to grow food for everyone, they were going to genetically alter the food so that they can control the growth cycles and grow more food. Monsanto Pharmaceuticals would be the one that have been responsible for this, ConAgra, Cargill, Monsanto. If you have money invested in these companies, it should end now. Because one thing that Monsanto intends to do with this is that by genetically modifying food, what will happen is that when the food grows, it will then start to pollinate other food across the globe. So that now they've established in court that if the pollinated food that is organic, that is genetically altered, pollinates organically grown food, and the next crop that the farmer grows has these genetic links from these genetically altered seeds, they can sue them. And in fact they did. They sued a farmer in Canada who was growing organically grown cotton. Another farmer was growing conventionally grown, commercially grown cotton by Monsanto Pharmaceutical seeds. It crossed over into the farm and pollinated their cotton. They took the farmer to court, sued him for $800,000. He could not pay the bill. They took his farm, his crop, and everything. The reason why they did this was not because a copyright was breached, but to establish in law that if this happens anywhere on the globe, they will own the products that now have their genetic markers in them.
What's the danger in taking?
Genetically altered food has never been tested on human beings, ever. In addition to that, we know that genetically altered food is now carrying markers that will cause viruses and will cause allergic reactions. And in fact, we know that they're genetically altering 75% of the corn, 75% of the wheat. They're genetically altering much of the rice. So now, since they're genetically altering the food, they could put the genes from fish into tomatoes. They can put the genes from pork into potatoes. They can put human genes into swine, into pigs. And the reason why they're doing this is that they say that they're actually taking the genetic potential from one thing in order to get the value out of another. The reason why they used the genes from shellfish crab is because they wanted to make the skin on a tomato harder, so that this way when they shipped it, they wouldn't lose it and they would still make more money. But when you do this, people who have shellfish allergies are now developing allergies to tomatoes. And now we're noticing that 5 out of 10 people are now getting allergies to wheat. And they're getting digestive problems because of this. Gluten allergies are coming up. This is causing more problems with digestion. Ligands are being formed in the bloodstream, creating more of these allergic reactions. The one thing they do not tell you is that these companies now have put a genetic marker into the seeds called a terminator marker, meaning that once that farmer grows that tomato, which he loves so much, and he tries to take the seeds and replant it, the seeds from that genetic marker and that genetically altered food will not regrow. He will have to go back to the company to buy that tomato. Why would they do something like this? Are they really trying to feed as many people as possible? Or do they see the possibility that one day, because once they genetically alter a seed, they can put a patent on it. Once they put a patent on it, now they own all the tomatoes for the future that come from those seeds. So that anybody who will grow tomatoes in the future that gets seeds from those genetically altered seeds, they owe money to that giant corporation. So you will owe them money, your children's children will owe them money, the children in the future will owe them money, until they pollinate the entire planet, so that this way they own all the food now, all of the seeds now. And just like somebody owns one thing like oil, they will own the food. Imagine that all the food will be owned by 1, 2, 3 companies. In fact, 60% of the food that is grown in America is owned by ConAgra, Cargill, and Monsanto. Not only do they own the food, they own the pesticides, they own the tractors, they own the land, they want to own the seeds, they want to own every level of this, all the way down the line, so they can own everything for your future, your children's future, the future's future. Now in some places, I don't necessarily encourage this, but I find it very interesting that in certain places in Hawaii, if you try to grow non-organic papaya, the Hawaiians will burn the entire crop no matter who papaya it is, because they believe that by doing that it is altering the people and changing the way that they and their bodies function. When we look at organically grown food, we can see that there are many options. One thing that you need to know about organically grown food, as studied by the United States Department of Agriculture, is that organically grown food has anywhere from 80 to 280% more vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients than commercially grown food. What that means is that if you're going to eat this lettuce and you're getting 80 to 280% more vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, then that means that you're spending less on supplements that are vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. And you're getting that in your food. And we want to make sure that you're getting that in your food because we want the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, the phytonutrients as they are designed to come from nature. Because let's take vitamin C for instance. But before we go on to vitamin C, let's mention some things here. The best place for you to get calcium is from leafy greens, because the leafy greens contain vitamin C. And in order to get the calcium, vitamin C has to be present. You will not absorb calcium in your digestive tract unless the vitamin C is there. So the best place for you to get your calcium as women is by eating a lot of leafy greens. A big salad, maybe 2 times a day, 1 time for lunch, 1 time for dinner, always making sure that I'm getting these greens. I also want to make sure that when I'm using organically grown food, that what I'm doing when I'm getting organically grown food is I'm getting water that is closer to natural. It hasn't been completely altered. Many of the times when they grow organically grown food, they're going to use, instead of certain fertilizers, seaweeds, things like this to add more minerals to the food. An organic farmer decides to compost their soil, meaning that they take many of the vitamins and fruits and nutrients, and when that all breaks down, they put it back in the soil, they turn the soil over so that you're getting high nutrient content food. When I eat my food and I sit down to a plate of food, I remember what Hippocrates said. Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. So when I sit down to a meal, I look at it and I go, are all the nutrients I need on here? How much of this is organic? And I'm getting the things that I need? What can I add to this? Certain herbs? I might take a dressing And I'm going to use 3 or 4 herbs in this dressing: rosemary, oregano, fresh and alive.